I think one of the biggest strengths that the Boruto anime has are its fight scenes. From really compelling taijutsu to great animation and just showing how strong a character really is, Boruto fight scenes are really fun to watch in general. That's why today we're going to be ranking the best fights that we have seen in the Boruto anime. We're doing a tier list today. I want to get a video out today before I go on vacation. That's why I decided to make a tier list of just ranking all the best fights in the Boruto anime so far. And no, we're not going to rank any fights from the code arc and the manga that hasn't been adapted yet. If you do want to make your own tier list ranking these fights, I'll make sure to leave a tier list of this in the description below. To begin, we have Boruto versus Nue. To be honest with you, this is a really good fight considering the context of what actually was happening. Boruto had basically saved the Hidden Leaf Village from being destroyed by Nue, and he teleported him using his Jogan Eye. And from there we got a lot of great moments such as the taijutsu sequences, the animation, the use of the Jogan abilities. Overall, it was just a really solid fight. While it was short, it was really fun to watch, so I think it's pretty self-explanatory there. Next we have Team 7 versus Kakashi. I think this is the academy entrance arc when they're doing the graduation exams. It's between solid and average, but I'll put it in average for now. I don't remember anything too memorable. I just know that Boruto almost got the belt from Kakashi, and that's about it really. It was a fun fight to watch, but it wasn't anything too memorable compared to the fights on here. Next we got Sakura versus Shin. I kind of want to put it in masterpiece, but since it was so short, I'll put it in really good. The overall fight was really fun to watch considering what was at stake, and we saw how powerful Sakura was. It was cool to see her fight again. I remember that scene where she's running up the pole and then she grabbed it and threw it at Shin. That was a pretty cool sequence right there. Overall, in terms of animation, the taijutsu was really fun to watch. Next we got Orochimaru versus Log. This was also a really good fight. I want to put it in masterpiece, but I'll put it at the top of really good. They really showed off Orochimaru, man. I thought Orochimaru was done for, but they really showed you how strong Orochimaru was in Boruto, considering that my man was boxing with a sword. Kenjutsu isn't really too relevant in the Naruto series, so getting an actual fight with Kenjutsu users between Orochimaru and Log, that was really nice to watch. Despite it being short, there was a lot of nice sequences, a lot of nice animation, and just overall the movement was just so clean, man. Next we got Sasuke versus Kinshiki. I think this is easily a masterpiece. I'm not gonna cap here. This fight was gas, man. Oh my god. When you saw Kinshiki run up on Sasuke and Kinshiki following Sasuke from behind using the trails of lightning, when Sasuke's amping himself with lightning chakra, and you see Kinshiki following him and you see the clashes breaking through Kaguya's castle, that was top tier, man. This is a very underrated fight among best fights in Boruto. I think this goes under the radar. If you haven't watched the Boruto movie version of Sasuke versus Kinshiki, this was a treat, man. I think this is an easy masterpiece. Next we got Mitsuki versus Shinki, yes, from the Chunin exams, the first one. I would say this is pretty solid. Mitsuki wasn't really going all out because he didn't want to use the Sage mode, but we did get some nice sequences here and there. Mitsuki and Shinki were basically the two strongest people in the Chunin exams. Even though Mitsuki didn't use the Sage mode, he did say that if he were to use the Sage mode, he wasn't sure if he would be able to beat Shinki. I think this fight would be in really good or even masterpiece if Mitsuki did use the Sage mode. Then we could have saw Shinki go all out at 100%, but overall this is a solid fight. Next we got Boruto and Sarada versus Shinki, the final round of the Chunin exams. I do remember Boruto cheating here. He did use the, what was it, purple lightning that Kakashi used, using the scientific ninjutsu. This is also a solid fight. We did get to see Boruto and Sarada use a lightning style combo attack. This is one of the first times we saw Boruto and Sarada work in tandem, fighting someone that strong, and overall this was another solid fight. Next we got the Momoshiki fight. I don't even have to discuss this. This is a masterpiece. Anything lower, you gotta be blind, bro. Next we got Rock Lee versus Metal Lee. This fight was actually solid too. This is when Metal Lee was having his anxiety problems. He was actually able to tap into the first gate and kick a base Lee across the Chunin exam stadium, so that was really cool. The taijutsu sequences were awesome to see, so overall, yeah, this is another solid fight. Next we got Konohamaru versus Jugo, and shit, I might put it in masterpiece. Oh man, it's stuck in between really good and masterpiece. Personally, I do think the overall taijutsu sequence between Konohamaru and Jugo, where he takes his kunai, shoves it through his mouth and like does like a spin move, I forget what it was, but this was a damn near masterpiece. I'll put it really good simply because it isn't a long enough fight. This was Konohamaru's best moment in the Boruto series. The way Konohamaru was moving, that massive Rasengan that sent Jugo flying, Definitely dope from him. Next we got Amoy versus Deepa. This was Deepa's first fight. We finally got to see what Deepa is actually capable of, and he didn't really get to go all out. He was just using taijutsu, and while they didn't push Deepa too hard, we did see Deepa body Amoy's teammates, giving more attention and kind of striking fear into what Deepa is as a character. In my opinion, I don't think it was on the level as these fights. I would put it at average, considering that it wasn't him going all out, how he no-diffed them pretty easily. It wasn't too crazy on the level of a solid tier, for example. Next we got Victor versus Orochimaru. This was a solid fight. Even though it was a beatdown, it was animated very well. We finally got to see another fight of Orochimaru, and considering how he took down an inner member of Kara so easily, definitely some dope stuff to see. Next we got Team 7 versus Deepa. The initial fight is not there. This is the rematch. I would easily say this is a masterpiece. Among what Team 7 did do in this fight, considering what they accomplished, Sarada getting her second Tomo, Mitsuki tapping into that sage mode, Boruto using the high compression Rasengan, and then at the end of the fight we saw Team 7 using that high compression Rasengan, combining all of their chakras to amp the power in order to take down Deepa. Overall, this was one of the best fights among the new gen in the Boruto series. Next we got Boruto versus Naruto. This is the beginning of the Vessel arc in the manga canon. I would say this is average. This was just a spar between Boruto and Naruto, and I would say that the animation was definitely questionable. I do remember there was a time where Boruto was going for a Rasengan, and it looked like he was moving at like, I don't know, 1 mile per hour. It looked pretty ugly, but knowing what was the context of this fight, this was just a spar, so it wasn't meant to be taken too seriously. Period definitely had their priorities at different fights that happened later down in the line of the Vessel arc. Next we got Boruto versus Ao. I'm not gonna lie, bro, this might be a masterpiece as well. That scene where Boruto is jumping drone to drone, that's some crazy shit right there. Like, it kind of gave me just the enjoyment that I had when watching the Momoshiki fight, for example, or the Deepa fight. The way the anime just added that scene right there, that was crazy. I think among Boruto fights, when it comes to fights in the series, this is probably Boruto's best solo fight. I remember when this fight dropped, Boruto was trending for weeks, and considering what happened 3 weeks later, we got the best fight in the series, man. Well, I wouldn't say the best fight, but this is easily the best animated fight in all of Boruto. Kawaki versus Garou, easily 10 out of 10. I don't think anyone can disagree with me on that. This is a masterpiece. This was the only fight in the Boruto manga that was adapted using the specific manga art style. Basically every other episode, the Boruto anime doesn't use Ikimoto's specific character art styles for the characters. This is the first time we ever saw a full episode of Ikimoto's art style, and considering just how well this fight was adapted and seeing all those extra sequences and Kawaki's introduction, they did an amazing job portraying Kawaki's power for 189 episodes. It was worth the wait to get to Kawaki's debut fight. This is easily an iconic episode in the Boruto anime by far, 1000%. Next we got Delta versus Naruto, and I think this fight kind of got dunked on simply because it was followed up by the Kawaki versus Garou fight, and considering how well animated that fight was, people had kind of sky high expectations to be on that level. If I'm being honest here, I'm not a fan of this fight. I would put this fight at average. Overall, I think this fight could be animated again. This fight was adapted literally 10 episodes after the Kawaki fight. It was kind of hard for the animators to kind of follow up with a fight up to the level of episode 189. For a fight to show off Delta's power, I'm not gonna lie, the anime didn't really do a good enough job. The manga really made it seem like Delta and Naruto were neck and neck in that fight. Meanwhile, when the anime adapted this fight, it kind of felt like Delta wasn't really that powerful to begin with. I feel like they didn't really show off Delta's powers too well. The anime could have done a lot more considering what they did in previous manga canon episodes. If this was just the manga only, I would put this at really good and possibly solid, but this is just an average fight in my opinion. Next we got the Jigen fight. This is a masterpiece too. I'm gonna put this behind the Momoshiki fight. I don't think it's on that level, but Jigen standing in front of Kurama and the Susanoo is legendary. That scene right there, pick Sasuke like it's nothing. Dynamic punch Naruto through Kurama. That was absolutely disgusting. That is something that people will remember when looking back at the Boruto series. Jigen standing on Sasuke's Susanoo blade is absolutely disrespectful. And of course that taijutsu scene where Jigen is just moving and walking through Naruto's shadow clones with his pole like it's nothing. Overall, this fight was a masterpiece without a doubt. Next we got Team 7 versus Baro. I want to say it's masterpiece, but I'll put this at really good. Overall, this was the first time we got to see Kawaki fight alongside Team 7, and seeing how they worked in tandem, Sarada using her Chidori. There was multiple sequences where we got to see Boruto, Kawaki, and Mitsuki work together to take down Boro. Sarada initially fighting Boro one-on-one by herself. I'm not gonna lie, bro, I might put this as a masterpiece. Next we got Borushiki versus Boro. I'll put this at really good. It wasn't really a fight, it was just a beatdown. Borushiki coming out for the very first time. Boruto has too many good fights, so let's just agree on that. It's just Borushiki kicking Boro around and using that massive Rasengan, but considering the context of what happened, this is the first time we saw Momoshiki awaken through Boruto's body when Boro was just beating up Boruto, thinking that Boruto was going to die, and then we saw Borushiki come out at the last second and then absolutely destroy him and use Boruto's Rasengan. I'll put this at masterpiece considering that this is the first time we saw Borushiki come out. Next we got Kashin Koji versus Jigen / Ishiki Otsutsuki, and I'm not gonna lie, this fight should be animated again. This was the first time we saw Kashin Koji go against the car organization. He betrayed them alongside Amato. He was fighting Jigen, and we got to see many crazy reveals, such as Kashin Koji being a Jiraiya clone, Ishiki Otsutsuki's very first appearance, Otsutsuki lore through this fight, also with Naruto realizing that Kashin Koji fought just like Jiraiya, on top of Kawaki losing his Karma Seal. The overall context of this fight is some of the best storylines that we have seen among any fight in Boruto so far. The overall context of what was happening in this fight was something that many people really enjoyed, but when this was animated, it was obvious that Studio Period didn't have the time or scheduling to animate this fight properly, because I'm not gonna lie, there were many times in this fight that it looked very janky. Ishiki overall looked really ugly. He really didn't look like himself during the actual fight itself. There was many times where, I'm not gonna lie, that wasn't really Ishiki, that was someone else. I feel like what they were able to animate was very questionable. I want to put it in pure ass considering how poorly they were doing the character models and character designs. If this fight was reanimated at a higher level with proper timing and scheduling, considering the fights that happened after, this fight would have looked a lot better. In fact, I would have put it at really good if it had better taijutsu sequences and animation and consistent character designs overall. This is one of my favorite fights in Boruto. I'm kind of sad how poorly done it was for this specific fight. Of course, with this fight being axed, it made this fight look amazing. Naruto versus Ishiki, Naruto using the Baryon mode. While it was a beatdown for most of the fight, showing just how strong Baryon mode was, it was definitely one crazy thing to see. Naruto's last stand, his final battle using Kurama, it was definitely something that needed to happen in the storyline. Naruto had to use a power-up this powerful in order to just fight Ishiki to begin with. That taijutsu scene that he used on Ishiki that was referenced back when he fought Sasuke at Final Valley, that Rasengan he did over the water, the way his tails were moving when he was dodging Ishiki's attacks, the anticipation for this fight, the build up, crazy man. Next we got Sasuke versus Borushiki. This is between average and solid. Sasuke did lose his Rinnegan, but I'll put this at solid. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it was pivotal for them to stop Borushiki to begin with. Next we got Inogen versus Hoki. This was a really good fight. They really showed out just how strong Hoki was. The animation overall was very well done. Definitely a top tier fight in the Chunin exams. Next we got Iwabe versus Wasabi. Pure ass. This fight was disgusting, like in a bad way, of course. Gooch sweat, dumpster juice, garbage, trash, just everything about it was pure ass. I understand this fight was more of a comedic fight to be more comedic relief. The way they made fun of Iwabe and the way the fight kind of went out, man, this fight sucked, bro. I'm not gonna lie, this fight was pretty garbage. Next we got Sarada versus Chocho. This is Sarada's best solo fight. The friendship between Sarada and Chocho runs very deep between each other, and that final clash with the Chidori and Butterfly Mode punch, that was really fun to watch, man. I'll leave it in really good for now. Next we got Denki versus Tsubaki. This is a solid fight, man. They showed Denki's will to become a ninja. Everyone was kind of downplaying Denki when they announced this fight, thinking that Tsubaki was gonna win easily. We saw just how smart Denki was using the scientific technology, and yeah, that was a really solid fight. So let me know what you think about this tier list in the comment section below. If there's any changes that you would have made to my list, what would it be? I think we can all agree that Boruto has a lot of really good fights, because I ain't gonna lie, bro, that masterpiece category, there is how many? 4, 8, 9 fights that are considered a masterpiece. I know there's some fights that may have been missing, such as the original Team 7 versus Deepa fight, but yeah, let me know what you think about this tier list in the comment section below. Like I said, if you do want to make a tier list using these specific fights, I'll make sure to leave this tier list in the description below. So if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell as well, and have a good day. Peace.